Okay, so I'm here with Matt Jackson, who is a former Downend Cricket Club first team captain for 6 years. He was in the role, and also is now a first team player still at the age of 40, turned 40 last week. Matt, firstly, could you just explain to the listeners about your time at Downend?
Yeah, so I joined Downend when I was 13 years old. I came from playing youth team cricket at Pucklechurch with my brothers, played a bit of youth team cricket for Wick, and then Phil, my brother, came over to Downend the previous year, and then I followed him into the youth section at 13. Played all my youth team cricket at Downend. Under the guidance of Robin Smith, who was an outstanding coach, and progressed from there, really. I made my second team debut at Western-super-Mare, if I remember, when I was 14, and I got a 50. I batted with the legend that was John Thompson at the time, who guided me through that. That was my first ever game, and that season I was brought up by Warren Smith to keep wicket in the first team at 14, I think, and it was against Cardiff at Downend, and that was my first team debut at 14, and then things have progressed from there. I haven't really looked back. I've played every year since then in the first team. I took over as first team captain from Mike Ponser, probably, I've got to remember now, 2012.
Yeah.
I was vice captain for a couple of seasons under Mike, and he sort of guided me into the role when I took that over in 2012. And I handed the reins over in 2018 to Jordan Garrett, and I'm still playing now, so yeah, still enjoying it.
I think you'd class yourself as an all-rounder, and every player, former player or current player that I've spoken to has said that you and Phil Jackson, your brother, would be the core of the team. You'd be the first namers in the team sheet. That must feel pretty special, huh?
Yeah, it is nice, especially coming from some of the guys that have are obviously outstanding cricketers. I think that's probably longevity has got something to do with that, being at the club for so long.
Yeah.
But it is a nice thing that other people do think that highly of you. Yeah, it's very nice.
You've been at the club a long time and you were captain for a long time. My first question I'm going to throw at you about the player situation is, who's the best overseas player that you've played with at Downend?
Oh, best overseas. I'm sure we've had quite a few. We've had some very, very good overseas players come to us. On paper, fantastic cricketers that have not always produced the goods. I would say Josh Barrett was outstanding when he came and played for us, wicketkeeper batsman, like an absolute gun.
Yeah.
Vishnu Vardens, I think, opened the bowling with my brother for a season. An Indian lad came over, unbelievable. They literally were going for no runs. First 20 overs of the game, they were unbelievable. They were an unbelievable opening partnership. They were outstanding. Probably the best. It's probably got to be Mike Ponter. He came over as a batter that could bowl, and then we found out that he could keep wicket. He was unbelievably good at that as well. So yeah, probably Ponce, to be honest. But Josh Barrett, him and Vishy were all very good, but probably out of the three, probably Ponce.
I mean, I've asked you about the best. It's harsh to ask you about the worst, but I would like to ask you, who's probably the worst player?
No, you asked me about the worst, that's fine.
Go on then.
I would say there was a lad that Ponce brought over from Pakistan. His name was Javid. I recall, didn't really do anything at all. I can remember him dropping copious amounts of catches. Hardly scored any runs for us. Yeah, it was pretty dismal. It was a pretty dismal year for an overseas player. And he didn't really drink, to be honest, which was not really great for the club. Not really great for Downend. I mean, we like a social beer, but yeah, so probably Javid, I would say.
What is the worst overseas?
Yeah, definitely the worst, yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Also, at your time at Downend, you've obviously had many ups and many downs, but there's got to be an ultimate time from your playing, not from captaining. We'll move on to that later, but from your playing days at Downend, is there anything that you remember and notice looking back at your career?
As in, what sort of stands out for me?
Yeah, what stands out
as a player?
As a player, as a person, on a personal note, or a group note, or a team note.
Well, I would say sort of the 2016 Gloucester Cup final was a nice win for us. At the county ground, we beat Thornbury. That was a nice touch. I think we finished third that year, which was also good as a team thing. And the 2015 season where we beat Bath at home. We haven't done that for a long, long time. I mean, Bath are a very, very good team, top of the tree, and always have been. And we beat them at our place in 2015, and we beat them a few times since, which has been nice. But also that season, I think we chased about 330 odd against Froster, and we needed sort of 24, 26 off the last over, and I was back with George Haynes.
Oh, yeah.
And we got across the line. I think George hit 6 off the last ball to win the game. And that was against a very talented Froster team at that time as well. So, I mean, those two sort of team efforts stick out. For me personally, probably winning Whitehall Player of the Year twice, which is, a really nice thing for me. And I won the Evening Post Cricketer of the Year as well in one of those seasons. I won the Whitehall Player of the Year. So, I mean, that was nice. But probably the best, although we lost the game, was the 9 wickets I took against Taunton St Andrews.
Oh, yeah.
That was like a big achievement for me. So that was a nice day.
And that was only last season?
That was only last season, yeah.
Yeah, so from last season, can you remember, would that have been the game that you'd probably remember to be the best that you've played in?
Probably... oh, God, there's been so many games, Holes, that, I mean... Just from a bowling sort of point of view, then yeah, I mean, to get 9 wickets in the Whitehall is a great achievement for me. But obviously we lost that day, which was put a bit of a dampener on it. But yeah, that is definitely up there. 9 wickets in a game of cricket was a good achievement for myself. Yeah.
I think what had happened was over the past few years, and as captain, you used to bowl yourself at first or second change, and I think Jordan Garrett realised, and it had been talked about so much about Matt Jackson opening the bowling for Downend, and I think it was after that 9 wickets that you started to then open the bowling every game. What was it like taking the new ball?
Yeah, right, it was pretty good actually. I think Jordan put a bit of faith in me, which was nice, and it's completely different bowling with a newie, or actually bowling first change when the ball's been hit around to mainly all parts of the ground at Downend, and you're using a tatty old ball. It's nice to get a new shiny one in your hand that does a bit. So yeah, it was different, but it was good. It was just nice, a nice change, which definitely worked out for us. So yeah.
What were your plans when taking the new ball? Because you always used to come on first or second change, as I said, and kind of try and slow the run rate down or keep it below 8 and over, 6 and over. So what was your plan taking the new ball?
I think a similar plan to what I would probably stick to if I was bowling first change. Hit a good area.
Yeah.
Don't give them anything to hit, especially when you're opening and you're in the power plays. Obviously, being a little dobber, if you give them anything, they're gonna take you apart. So it's just a matter of hitting the right areas, bowling to your field. Just really the basics, to be honest. Executing it properly, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I get you. Could you try and cast your mind back to when you were captaining, and preferably your first few seasons? Was there any difficulties that you came across?
In the playing side?
Yeah, in the playing side.
I mean, when I took over the captaincy from Ponce, the club was in quite a difficult time, and as cricket was sort of evolving, the standard was getting better and better and better. We were sort of in the realms of not necessarily struggling, but we had to sort of keep up with other teams, and it became difficult. I mean, the club sort of got through some really bad patches of struggling, not only on the cricket side, but sort of off of the field, monetary stuff. People really had to dig deep through those times, and then sort of we came out the other side of it, and now it's picking up, and the club's picking up, and it's becoming a good place to be again. So for everyone involved. So yeah.
I'll also ask you. I've been asked to ask you by Miles Davis about tours. Could you just touch on one of your best tour, your favourite tour?
I think the tour to Newquay was pretty good. The Get Go Laid tour. Just probably for the amount of alcohol that was drank. There were certain people on the tour that will be nameless that were probably drinking other people's bodily fluids, which they probably shouldn't have done. But I'm not going to divulge too much into that. But yeah, probably Newquay was a decent tour. Blackpool Manchester has always been a good tour. But yeah, there's been so many of them, mate. It's just hard to remember.
Are you hoping that there'll be another tour organised soon then, I guess?
Hopefully one of the younger lads will take the reins and sort of organise something.
Yeah.
And we can start touring again, because it is a good laugh. And it does get everyone together, and yeah, the social side is always good.
Yeah, the social side's always been good at Downend, and the playing side too. Through your captaincy, has there been any great moments that you thought, wow, like a win at Bath, or a win against a team that you didn't think you were going to win against? Has any of that ever happened to you?
Yeah, probably the wins against Bath, because we'd never ever, as far as I can remember playing, we'd never beaten Bath.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, we got close a few times. I remember Jamie Skinner dropping a catch. Bath were like 60 for 6, and they went on to get like 280. He dropped a lad on like next to nothing, went on to get 120. And that kind of lost us the game. But I'm sure no one's ever mentioned that since. But it's, beating Bath's always special, especially beating Bath away on their ground, because it's such a nice place to go and play. And, always a good victory. Always feels like you've done well when you win at Bath, so yeah.
Can you remember your best innings as a cricketer?
Best innings?
Yeah.
Best innings? Oh my God.
It could have been, I'll give you an example. Last year at Lansdowne you hit, did you hit 100 in the end? And
no, 96.
Sorry. 96, you went and taken the new ball, and then you took a few wickets, pegged them back. Something like that, it's quite gritty, it was determined, it got us out of a bit of trouble, and you seem to have done that over the past few years.
Yeah, oh my God, now you've asked me a question. Wow. Yeah, I mean, there was I think going back, there was a game we played. I think it was the Froster. I mean, the Froster game where we chased 330 down.
Yeah.
I think I had a little cameo at the end of that, which held it all together, which sort of got us through, and things like that. I remember a few seasons back batting with Phil at Bath right at the end in a rain-affected game, and me and Phil managed to see us through. But there's been so many holes. Just I can't remember, mate. So many just rattling around in my head, mate.
Too much of a good cricketer, that's what it is.
Oh, that's it, mate. Unbelievable.
From also your time at Downend, we'll keep going on about this, because I think in quite a lot of people's eyes you're a club legend, and a lot of people will be looking forward to hearing this. What would you say has been your funniest moment on the cricket field?
My funniest moment?
There's got to be one that sticks out to you.
There probably is one that sticks out to me. There's probably quite a few that sticks out to me. I would say there was a funny moment at Froster away when a lad called Jay Naughton was batting for us. They had a lad called Ben Gannon that was bowling fairly sharp. I think Jay came in towards the end, and a little scoop over the slips, hit him for 4. And that was Ben Gannon. I think he was at Gloucester at the time. He walked back to his mark and chucked his run-up disc about 10 yards back, and then steamed in and just hit him clean in the helmet. And he was on the floor. I think we were all in hysterics, but I don't think he found it that funny, because I think he retired hurt. But that was quite a fun time. But watching someone else get peppered is always quite amusing.
You mentioned earlier about batting with Phil and seeing it through at Bath a few times with him. What was it like? What was it like batting with your brother?
All right. Usually, sort of, I take the reins. I tell him what to do. He doesn't listen. He just does his own thing. It is quite nice when Phil's in full flow and he's just dispatching balls left, right, and centre. It's a nice thing to watch. But yeah, it's always nice batting with your brother, isn't it? It's always nice having a little competition, see who can hit the biggest 6 or things like that. But yeah, it's always been good. I've played with him all my life, so yeah, it's nice, mate. It's nice.
Another question that I was asked to ask you by Sam Sackett it's 2 actually. It's part 2 question. It is about you and Phil.
Right. Okay.
Who's the better cricketer?
Okay.
Go on.
Andy.
What, your other brother?
My oldest brother, yeah.
He's the better cricketer out of all 3 of you.
He's the better cricketer, yeah.
And also, I think Sam asked me to ask you who hits the biggest 6, and also, go on.
Definitely Phil.
Phil, and can you remember where that biggest 6 was, or the biggest 6 that you've seen him hit?
I think the 6 that he hit into the tennis courts at Taunton St Andrews was massive. Absolutely massive. And he also hit one at Ilminster away, which nearly went, well, he reckons it was 100 metres, but I just laughed at him. But it was also a pretty impressive hit. But yeah, he can hit the ball a pretty long way. Doesn't happen very often, but when it comes off, it's pretty impressive.
You've been at the club a long time, and also you've probably seen many captains, many players come and go. Can you see the club changing off the field though?
Maybe a little bit, but I think if you've been somewhere for such a long period of time, and you've played with a set amount of players, then as those players disappear and it moves on, everything changes. I still think it's brilliant at the club. After the game, we all sit around, we stay together, we have a beer. I mean, how many clubs out there that play at our standard can say that they get their first team, second team, third team, come back, hang around the club, have a good social drink? I think it's still pretty good. But I think as time evolves, everything changes, mate. But we're it's still a really good place to be. And so yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Well, Matt, thank you so much for your time. And I hope you and your family stay safe. And hopefully, well, for my sake, hopefully we get some cricket. I don't know if you want some cricket this season.
I'd like to. Being it's my last season, then I don't want to go out without playing a game at all. That'd be horrendous.
Leaving the listeners on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. But yeah, it would be nice to get a little bit of cricket in. I don't think we'll get any league cricket, but it will just maybe friendly cricket towards the end of the season. But we'll see.
We will see. Thank you very much, Matt. Cheers.
No problem, Moles. Take it easy, mate.